There you go. Cool. Oh, very cool. Brand new opening sequence to the show. Proud to say that hsnetwork.live is now live. Brought to you by Cairo Vault, Rugby Vault, and Noble Goldman. Been busy beaver in the background, and still rugby chat and all about the rugby. So, yeah, we'll talk a bit more about our HSN stuff. But, hey, first off, remember, any questions, throw them in the comments. We'll answer them, and we'll see how we go from there. Good morning, Jeff. How are you today? Mr. Silver Medal Man from the North Harbour Sevens. Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers, mate. I thought I'd represent my club. Got my Silverdale shirt on. So, had a good day at the North Harbour Sevens Championship. Managed to get a runners-up medal there with my boys. Yeah, very good effort. So pretty happy with that. And I was actually hoping to win 3 North Harbour championships in 3 different decades, but just came up one short, mate. But maybe next year, eh? All good fun.
Maybe next year. No, I saw you had a good day for the Sevens, and of course we're all into Sevens rugby now. So if you guys are all out there doing your Sevens stuff, yeah, tell us what you're up to and how you're going. And of course, as I said, we're looking at what's the word I'm looking for here? Rugby season officially now for us here in New Zealand, other than the Sevens, it's over. 25 all, and as they say, was that like kissing your sister?
Yeah, all season we've been saying the same thing, just the inconsistency, man. They look good. Everybody's talking about, unfortunately, the last 10 and forgetting about the first 70 minutes where they really looked as though finally what Ian Foster was saying is we're building. Finally, they put it all together. But yeah, after 71 minutes, Bodie gets yellow carded, and then they just capitulated, didn't they? It was very un-All Black like to concede 3 tries in 9 minutes like that. And 25. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. I've literally been waiting for them to come out and go, oh, it was the end of a long season and all that, blah, blah, blah. I've literally been waiting for that comment to come out, but it hasn't. So maybe we're just growing up a bit. But what would you have done as coach or captain when you got the ball at 25 all? You could have still had a go, had a crack. You've just scored 3 tries in 10 minutes. Would you have had a go at the All Black line from your own 22 or take the draw?
Oh, absolutely, you'd have a go. Good God, you got momentum, you got nothing to lose. I mean, and the fact that they kicked it out there, I mean, I don't know who made that decision. Maybe it was just Marcus Smith on his own, because it seemed as though everybody around him was looking at him just going, what the, so what on earth were they thinking? I have no idea, but no, I certainly as a coach would have put the message out there to go for the win. I'm sure the All Blacks were going for the win, and I'm sure most of England were probably going for the win, but yeah, it wasn't the best of endings, was it? But having said that, I mean, the All Blacks should have secured that way earlier. We kicked the ball away. We didn't scramble enough on that wide defence, I felt. We certainly had them around that ruck. They just couldn't get through. They couldn't get over the line. But then as soon as they started going wide, obviously with Bodie off the field, we were 1 player down. So we should have actually woken up to that and spread a bit more and scrambled a bit more to the width, but we didn't. And hey, look, the rest is history. But hey, at the end of the day, who cares, mate? It's all building towards the World Cup. So 12 months' time from now, we could be sitting here saying that we are the world champions, because I think genuinely now, and I said last week, I'll probably put my foot in my mouth a couple of times this year, but I think I've seen enough on this tour to suggest that if we can keep it together and eliminate mistakes and keep a cool head on the field, we could win the World Cup. But there's 6 other teams thinking exactly the same thing.
Oh, totally. And I mean, watching the Irish game there, that was a bit of a. I'm just putting up the results here from last week, so I know where we're at. The Americans, are gone. So Portugal are there. So, I mean, the big question here is what's happened to North American rugby? Major League Rugby should have brought that up and stuff like that. And so, I mean, that's why I just jumped straight into there, because there is to comment on what you were saying about the 6 other teams. But, again, another test match that ended in a draw, but the reward there was a ticket to France in the Rugby World Cup. So what do America have to do? Their coach, I read earlier yesterday, I think it was, actually has quite a good winning record with the Eagles. Gary Gold, I think that's his name. He still can't get the team to a World Cup, and first time ever we won't have a Canada or a USA at the World Cup. So it's a bit of a worry considering they're hosting it in a couple of years.
Yeah, it is a worry, and the rumour is now that Eddie Jones has been offered an 8-year contract as director of rugby at USA, and with the prime goal of getting them to the World Cup. Obviously, they're hosting in 2031, so they're looking to Eddie Jones as the saviour. But again, the problem there is that they're loading up the top, which is cool. Like, I understand that. But what's happening at the grassroots? What's happening at the bottom? This is where I say all the time: you don't put your roof on first when you build a house. You start from your foundations, you start from the base, and then you work your way up. So they're working hard with Major League Rugby, and that's still a work in progress. Obviously there's some issues going on there, but what's that next level down? What's the universities like? What are the high schools like? And American kids just aren't like us as Kiwis. We're not running around with a rugby ball at 5 years of age. So this is the problem I think that the Americans have to address, and they've got to be putting money in at that grassroots, getting the players and building up from there, like any organisation.
Well, no, I mean, that is absolutely true. And, of course, we've got the Chicago Hounds in America for the next episode of Major League Rugby, replacing the LA Giltinis and the Austin Gilgronis. They're gone. And at least all the players there have got a team to go to, but they've had to move from LA and Austin to Chicago. They'll be like moving from the Gold Coast to Gore, wouldn't
it? Yeah, good example. I actually love Chicago, mate. It was a pretty cool city. We used to go there all the time and hang out. It's bloody cold in winter, I'll tell you that. But no, it's a cool city. So look, I as I said last week, my heart's with USA Rugby, and I spent a lot of time there, and I actually played for the USA Eagles, so I can consider myself an alumni. And so that it does worry me that they're not in this World Cup, and I'd hate to think the ramifications if they couldn't qualify for their own World Cup that they're hosting. So they have to start today, not tomorrow. They have to start today to get themselves back into shape.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned Eddie Jones, and now the word is Scott Robinson has been shoulder tapped by the English. So after our show last week, Scott Robinson and the Barbarians played the Harlequins. And who got a conversion to seal the victory for the Harlequins by 73 points to 28, but only Joe Marler, after we were saying he's going to back up again and play for the Harlequins. Well, not only did he finish off with the winning try, he took the winning conversion just to rub it in like a good front row forward should be doing. 73-28. I think you sent me a text to say how good Scott Robertson now. And I thought, wow, okay, that was quite interesting. And then on Monday, they sort of quick turnaround and they played Bath yesterday. And a Damien McKenzie drop goal got them the victory by 31-30. So, yeah. So he had a good win against, they had the win against the New Zealand 15, but then went down to Harlequins and snuck an injury time drop goal to beat Bath.
Yeah, that's a tough gig, man.
Yeah.
Scott Robertson's inheriting a team that he didn't select. I wouldn't say a ragtag bunch. I'd hate to put that label on them, but they're from all over, different cultures. So he's had to get a game plan pretty quickly, and that's why I said I was so surprised that they defeated the New Zealand 15. So credit to Scott Robertson. Then I guess he had to then work around some game plans or resting players or whatever, because they've got these games in quick succession. They've got one more game left on this tour as well. So, the fact that they went down to Harlequins, a pretty well drilled club side, and then coming back to beat Bath, I mean, I think he's done wonders with that team, to be honest. But is he going to take up an England role if he is shoulder tapped? Well, I mean, who knows what's going through his head, because again, the rumour mill has it that Joe Schmidt has been shoulder tapped for the AB's job after Foster, and that maybe Scott Robertson is on the outer. So, he'd probably be a fool to turn down any international jobs that come his way. So if he takes England, then good on him.
Well, I'm amazed I know he doesn't want the job. He'd rather just sit back on the beach with probably a gin and tonic. But World Coach of the Year, Wayne Smith. How good?
The GOAT. No, he's just amazing what he's done, isn't it? And he's getting the recognition he deserves. That Coach of the Year gong, and good on him. But as he said, he's 65 now, so he's on retirement age. I'm sure he'll be around. People will be tapping into his brain, and he'll be making guest appearances here and there. Whether he keeps on as a head coaching role with the Black Ferns or even a director of rugby, who knows what he's going to do. But he certainly deserves a well-deserved retirement in his home in Waihi, and why not?
Why not? But then, in saying that, Joe Biden just turned 80, and he leads and he's the leader of the free world. So hey, he's still got 15 years.
Anyway, don't get me started on Biden. My God, you can't even read a teleprompter.
True, and gets countries wrong. So just to wrap up the Barbarians chat. So they're playing Northampton, New Zealand time, 4 a.m. Sunday. So that'll be an interesting one because there's a few Kiwis there involved with the Northampton squad. So I can't even think of his name now. He was the Hurricanes coach. But anyway, we'll have a look at these other results and as we move on, because I know we are time pressed today. If you have any questions, jump on in. So the other game at the Rugby World Cup in Dubai, we had playoff for third and fourth. 22-18 to Hong Kong over Kenya. Bit of a surprise. I mean, both of them got thumped by USA and Portugal. Kenya, are they going down the path of Fiji, where they've got a great sevens team, but they have neglected the 15-a-side thing, even though I've seen some of the experts talking about the World Cup next year and saying that Fiji could be the upset second-tier nation to make a semi-final at next year's World Cup.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's happening over there unless you're actually on the ground. But yeah, for me, it makes sense to focus on one or the other. If you, and again, I hate to use that word poor, or if you're a second or third tier nation, the sevens program is, it's easy to run. Really, it's cost effective. All you need really is some fields, and you can just get out there, throw a ball around, and create some sevens tournaments and some sevens circuits. 15's obviously more players, more management, more admin, and more travel, because again, you've got to go overseas and play international test matches. So it just seems to make sense that if Kenya were going to focus on sevens, then why not? And then from there they could build their program up into a formidable 15s program. But just as an aside, what was the point of playing the Hong Kong Portugal game? Does it give them seeding somewhere? Because at the end of the day, neither of them, it didn't mean anything, did it?
No, it didn't. It was a round robin format thing. You know, everyone played everyone once, and then whoever finished top of the table. So USA and Portugal drawing finished on 12 points each, but Portugal got through on point differential. So they had about a 20 plus point differential that got them through. So hey, congratulations to the mighty Wolves of Portugal. For getting through. That will really stick on the side of the Spanish who made it, but then got kicked out. So Spain will be sort of looking over the border there on the Iberian coasts going, what the, look at the size of us, look at the size of them, and we're not there. So, but the other team, though, that is going to be there is Chile, who, knocked out the Americans, basically, and the Canadians from North America, or from the Americans' qualification. And they played the club side of Leinster, the mighty Leinster, who probably had a second-string team, you could say, out playing because, the Irish were playing the South Africans. And Leinster got up and defeated Chile by 40 points to 3. Ouch.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought exactly the same thing. I thought, ouch, this is a team going to the World Cup. And, man, if they come up against a powerhouse, it could get ugly. But, again, it just reiterates the importance of playing more games and, getting these nations the test matches that for them to improve. You've got to beat the best, you've got to keep playing the best, and you just got to get better and better. And, if you're just not getting that exposure, then you just can't improve your game. So I feel sorry for the Chileans, but again, hopefully they can get to the World Cup and equip themselves really, really well.
Oops. So bit disappointing, but they did get the Try of the Year award at the World Rugby Awards, so well done to that particular player. And then we had Tonga taking on Uruguay. Now, Tonga are looking good, 43 points to 19 in Bucharest in Romania. I don't know why they all ended up hanging out in Romania, but anyhow, that was another big victory for the Tongans. They've done quite well on their Northern Tour. They've sort of been just under the radar, as they say. Uruguay, though, they're at the next World Cup themselves, I believe, and they've got a lot of work-ons themselves, as they would say in the world of work-ons.
Yeah, I think you picked Uruguay last week, didn't you? And I picked Tonga.
Oh, okay. Well, I just heard someone knocking on my door. So South Africa 63, Italy 21. Oh, and my assistant has gone to the door to have a look. Wow, Italy right in highs, beaten Australia the week before, and South Africa looking for that first win on tour, and they absolutely smoked them in the second half. I think it was 7 or 8 tries to 0.
Yeah. And we talked last week again about South Africa. I mean, they're not far off the pace. And if you're a Springbok supporter, you'd get a lot of heart out of this tour because, combined 7 points. They lost to the number 1, number 2 ranked teams in the world. They lost by 3 points to Ireland. They lost by 4 points to France. And then they've absolutely pumped Italy. So, again, I don't know how much we can read into these tours, but it does give you an idea that I think the South Africans are on the right track when you look at those scores. So, again, just they can win the World Cup next year. Who knows? As I said, it's going to be a very, very interesting, very intriguing World Cup next year.
And you know the result I'm going to next, don't you? The
Oh,
mighty
man.
Lilos. The mighty Lilos over the Welsh. 13 points to 12. What a great victory for the Georgians. I mean, they played really well at the last World Cup. I mean, remember when the All Blacks played Georgia and they got thumped, but the man of the match was the Georgian captain, They've got some grunt and some meanness to them, especially their forward pack, the Georgians. And that is almost icing on the cake for them, wouldn't it be? That they're moving in the right. They've beaten Italy, they've beaten Wales. What else do they have to do to be? Everyone goes on about Romania and all that going into the Six Nations. Well, is it time for the Six Nations to have a promotion relegation? 2 wins against Six Nation teams would have had them in the middle of the table.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and we know that Wales finished second bottom last year, and they've had a shock. I don't know. I mean, I think Wayne Pivac, my old mate, he's probably on the plane home at the moment. He's probably been given the boot. I haven't heard anything, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised. But do you do that this far out or this close to a World Cup? I don't know. But boy, oh boy, that's not good for the Welsh. And they're so passionate about their rugby too, aren't they? I'd love to know what's going on and be a fly on the wall in some of those pubs in the valleys there in Wales, because tell you what, Wayne Pivac's back would be full of bloody backstabbing holes in there, mate. It's not good, not good.
No, not good. And I think both of us actually did think Wales and Cardiff. I think we both picked Wales there. So we both went down there, even though I do follow the Georgians quite closely. And then we had this weird game in Holland. Namibia, who are at the World Cup next year, who got beaten quite comfortably the week before, played the Canadians and defeated them by 43 points to 43 to 37. But again, it was a 6-minute injury time try to the Namibians to get the victory, but they still won in a high-scoring match. And again, the Canadians would have been looking at that to think, okay, we're rebuilding, and they still dropped that game.
Yeah, true. I mean, I guess it's for Namibia, I guess, proven that they deserve to be in the World Cup, and Canada missing out. So I guess if you look at that on paper, then that's probably the right result. But again, goes back to that North American rugby. What's going on there? USA, Canada, etc., just not performing.
Yeah. Fiji took on the French Barbarians. I think we both went with Fiji with this one, mainly because of the Barbarians being all mishmash of everyone thrown together, by 46 points to 14. That would have given great confidence to the Fijians, but how do you think they're going to perform moving forward when they, play teams that have been together for a while and training together for a long time?
Yeah, it's you really don't know what you're going to get with Fiji, do you? If they've got a solid forward pack and they can secure enough ball, they can be dangerous. They can beat, or compete with the top tier, but at the same time, it comes back to consistency, doesn't it? So I think if I remember rightly, I might have picked the French Barbarians to actually pull that one off last week, because it was in France and obviously with the French being on a bit of a roll at the moment with their rugby. Can't quite remember who I picked. I think we both sort of thought it could be a bit of a toss-up. It'll be a high-scoring game anyway, but I'd love to watch that game. I haven't actually seen any footage of it.
No,
because I think it'd be a pretty entertaining game. And but look, I mean, our Pacific neighbours, they're all, they're going to be competitive, aren't they? They're going to be physical. They're going to be tough, and I just love seeing how they're progressing. And again, just comes back to that whole thing around how World Rugby's just ignored them. They just keep ignoring them. They're not sending teams over there, doing the island slam. As I've talked all the time, the All Blacks should be going over there mid-season, playing Fiji and Suva on Saturday, playing Tonga and Nuku'alofa on Wednesday, playing Samoa and Apia on the Sunday. Let's try and do that and send teams over there all the time and give them some games and try and build them up that way and let them have the gate takings. It's just, they're just being ignored, and yet, despite that, they're still coming back and producing the results, eh? And again, the World Cup, there'll be some upsets there for sure.
Oh, totally. And the other thing is too, we've got to remember that one Jason Ryan was coach there last year with Fiji on the European tour. So we'll see how good he's done with bringing the All Blacks pack back up into some sort of dominance. So watch the space with the Fijians. I think they'll get to the quarterfinals. I don't think they will make the semi-finals though. But their neighbours, Samoa, had a huge win, 22-0 over Romania in Romania. So everyone was concentrating on the rugby league final between Samoa and Australia. Meanwhile, the Samoan Union boys did the trick and got a zip victory.
Yeah, a bit of emotion there for the Samoans as well, with their former manager Alassana passing away last week. So I think they would have had quite a bit to play for. He was their manager at the last Rugby World Cup, passed away sadly. So yeah, a bit of emotion there for the Samoans. They came out, put on a performance, didn't they? And we've just been talking before about the emergence again of Romania, which is great. But again, just shows the power of the Pacific nations.
Yep. Scotland 52-29 over Argentina. I thought this game would have been a lot closer than it was. So the Scots really pulled it together to knock off the Pumas. I can't remember which way I went there. My head went with Scotland, but my brains were going with Argentina. Oh, my heart was going with Scotland, brains with Argentina. So Argentina, they got the big victory over England, and then they seem to have gone to sleep, losing to Wales and Scotland.
Yeah, it's like they beat England and that was it. Cool, man, tore over. We've achieved what we want to do, and they've really gone off the boil, and which is bit sad, really. I would have liked to see them kick on a bit, but it just goes to show that it's so hard to pick these games, aren't they? Australia beating England, England drawing with the All Blacks putting 50 points over Wales, and Scotland competing with the All Blacks. I didn't pick that. I think I'm pretty sure I would have gone with Argentina to beat Scotland last week. Got that one horribly wrong again. So if anybody's listening to us and they want to, put some money in the TAB, don't listen to us. Do not listen to us. We have no clue.
Just to do the opposite, literally. Because I tell you what, we've done to death that ugly draw. Watching the game after that, though, Ireland, Australia. Oh, was that a bore fest or what? I mean, did you fall asleep during it, or were you busy cleaning up after your storm?
I was busy cleaning up after my storm. I had it on, but no, I had to get outside and save our neighbour's fence. But anyway, from what I have seen of it, it was like Australia were very, very desperate to keep it close. At least, I mean, if you look at that Aussie record this year, 9 losses from 13 tests. I don't think the Aussies have ever performed that badly in a calendar year. Just uncanny, but at the same time, they put in some good performances, and some of those games could have gone either way. They could have beaten the All Blacks. That classic where they took too long to kick the ball out. So I don't think Dave Rennie's going to get the boot. But has he done enough? Is he doing enough? Are they tracking well, the Australians? I don't know, because I think if we look at their pool at the World Cup, I think you'll find that they may be in a bit of trouble to even get out of their pool if they don't pull their socks up.
Well, true. And then you mentioned Dave Rennie. The thing is with that is who would replace him? I mean, England's already taken half the world's coaches. New Zealand's pretty much got them locked up. America's taking anyone that's getting kicked out by England. And all the coaches seem to be all okay. So it's just like they have to stay with the status quo because no one's really in Australia putting their hand up to be coach.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well, isn't it? I guess with only 4 Super Rugby teams over there, it does make it pretty tough. But you'd think there's got to be someone, surely. I mean, that's coming through the system there. They don't want to keep just poaching New Zealand coaches. That's the old thing in the changing sheds. You'd love to hear your own countrymen bloody trying to rack you up, to for Australians to be listening to bloody Kiwis all the time. I don't know how they can put up with it.
No, because we definitely don't like putting up with listening to whining Australians. Has that got the comments working? Maybe not. And then we've got France, Japan. We both said 50 points to Japan, to France, and they managed a 35-17 win. So that would come down as a bit of a victory for Japan, getting 17 points and only going down by 18.
Yeah, I mean, are we ever going to stop saying that, they've got a victory by, losing within 20 points? I think Japan are probably building to being a top or a tier one nation. They've already beaten South Africa. They've claimed some decent scalps. They came close to beating the All Blacks. And so I think the consistency that Jamie Joseph and Tony Brown would be looking for, that they'd probably, I'd say, be a little bit disappointed with that. You don't go into a game thinking, man, let's try and keep these guys to within 20 points and we'll be happy. I think you go in there with that mindset that we're going to win. And so having said that, I mean, I think that Japan, hopefully they're here to stay. And if they keep building some momentum, then some more upsets are going to come.
Oh, true. So, I mean, we've got 3 more games and then that's pretty much it till the Dubai Sevens. When's that? Next week, the week after. But 3 games, as I said, we've got Northampton playing the Barbarians at 4 a.m. And then we've got Wales, Australia. So is this a battle for the wooden spoon for the Northern Tour?
Well, it's certainly shaping up that way, isn't it? And, both teams will be desperate to get a win. That'll be, I mean, it's not going to be a sayonara, cool man, let's go get on the booze type of game. This is full test match stuff. I think they'll be approaching this as we must win, both teams, and so it'll be a good. Who's going to win, mate? Judging by all these results that are going on, they'd have to win that. They'd have to, and poor old Wayne Pivac's going to be getting that shovel out and digging that grave of his, and he's going to be putting another notch in that coffin. I tell you, he's not a good record at all.
Well, I cannot pick Australia. I will never pick Australia. So I'm going for the mighty Welsh. Go the Red Dragons, do the Wallabies, and send, unfortunately, maybe Dave Rennie packing. I don't know. But he's an upper hut boy from Wellington. So I've got to have a bit of leeway there and sympathy with the guy with what he has to work with. And then pretty much the international season is wrapped and loaded up with England playing South Africa at Twickenham, repeat of the World Cup final from 2019.
Yeah, this is another interesting game because the South Africans really have to build on what they did last week and what they've done this tour, actually. Sure, they've had 2 losses, but we've talked about that. They've been very close losses to the supposedly number 1 and number 2 ranked teams. So they're going to have to really build on that momentum by defeating England. And then England, again, they sort of got a little bit of respect back by drawing with the All Blacks, albeit I think it was in, pretty bizarre circumstances, to be fair. So how good are England? This will be a good tester as to, are they really on the right track under Eddie Jones? How good are South Africa? And if I had to put money on it, it'd be on the Springboks to finish their tour off well by 10 points.
Well, yeah. I have to lean towards South Africa myself, especially after they didn't know what to do at the end of that game. And the English, they had no sort of let's get out there and let's all do the what do you call it, the bizzo. So yeah, I definitely would have to look at what do you call it? What's their name? South
Springboks.
Africa. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the bloody. I thought I had it all sitting here. The draw for the sevens, but I can't find it. So we'll talk about that next week anyway, because we'll have the second round of the sevens coming up in Dubai. So with these 3 games still to come, I suppose my question would be now, what have you thought of this Northern Tour? do you, from a coaching perspective, from all the different teams you've seen play, are the teams tracking who you thought would be tracking towards the World Cup? Are they there? Which teams do you believe are there and on track and maybe peaking too soon to those that, oh my God, they still got a shitload of work to do?
Yeah, I think what it's done is created a lot more confusion as to who is going to qualify, because it's really proven that the international circuit at the moment is a lot tighter than it's ever been. You've always had your All Blacks out there, and the All Blacks have run up some big victories. I mean, they did against Wales, admittedly, obviously, but generally it's been a lot tighter for the All Blacks, and we've been a lot more critical of the All Blacks because of that. But again, now we're starting to see that all of a sudden the rest of the world is really putting in the effort, and there's some really good teams out there. And so it's not a given that any team's going to win it. I think the favouritism still is going to be with Ireland and France. And having said that, I don't think Ireland has been that convincing, but they've done enough. That's all you got to do when you're number one ranked. You just got to keep getting the wins. Is there improvement left in them? I'm not too sure. Is there improvement left in France? Not too sure. I think South Africa have shown that they're certainly going to be a threat. I think Australia, there's a lot of question marks around Australia. I think Wales will probably let themselves down big time. And again, England can't be discounted either. I mean, cheapest. They did come back, and as I said, the circumstances around that were, that previous 70 minutes, they were totally outclassed, but the way they came back, so you never discount them. And the performances, I guess, of Argentina and Scotland and even Italy to a lesser extent, I don't know. But so I certainly don't think those teams have covered themselves in any glory. But I do think that when we look at the structure of this, the New Zealand-France game takes on a lot more meaning, that opening game of the World Cup, because the All Blacks, if they can't get through France, then they're going to be on that side of the pool where they're going to have to get through Ireland as well, I think, in a quarterfinal. So they really, really need to win that game to have a good shot at it.
Well, yeah, I was just going to literally, you took the words right out of my mouth there. Is it a game that you go, okay, we'll take the chance that Ireland have peaked early, and if we lose, okay, it's not, the wheels haven't fallen off yet. I mean, if they did take the loss, they'd be after a very narrow loss, would they not? They I mean, for them to, I shouldn't really, I mean, just the thought of saying, oh, well, if the All Blacks lose, that's okay. That's where the mentality is now as well. I mean, I would always say 110% all the time, ABs every day, right?
Yep.
But now you just can't. Yeah, I mean, there's too much thing. But then if you start playing these stupid mind games and go, well, okay, we'll put out our B team, and if we lose, that's okay. We've got the A team to come in to take on all the other sides, right? But then what happens when you play the other sides of lesser quality and a guy goes down injured? I mean, we saw that today in the Football World Cup, started off okay with the England-Iran game. Their number one goalkeeper collided with his own player and got taken off, because he knocked himself out, basically. And then, unfortunately, the second goalkeeper let in 6 goals. So, I mean, sure, he's a good goalkeeper, but the thing is, do you risk playing your best against a lower class with the likelihood of, a Sam Whitelock or a Brodie Retallick accidentally going high in a tackle, getting a yellow card, getting suspended for 2 games because the opposition they're playing, and this is the point I'm talking about, the yellow and red cards in life, is that when you're playing higher class opposition, the likelihood is most of the tackles, and if they get pinged, are going to be pingable, right? But when you're playing lower class and the guy's sliding into a tackle or coming into a tackle, the experience there of that guy doing the tackle or coming in for a being tackled, isn't putting his body in the right place. But if you're tackling him and he hasn't got his body in the right place and you take his head, you're off. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. And there's it's that fine line between, you can't play your top 15 every single game during this World Cup. That's just, for that reason, injuries, red cards, etc. So you've got to have faith in your entire squad. You've got to, and again, let's say use the All Blacks as an example. Is you can't pick All Blacks just to make up numbers. You pick All Blacks because you trust to put them on the field. Having said that, it appears as though there's a bit of a gulf between the top 15 and the finishers, or the reserves as they like to call them, because it does seem as though that top 15, when they've started, they've performed very, very well. They got that massive victory against Australia. They played so well, that first 70 minutes against England, but then it seems as though the wheels fall off there. Is it a lack of direction, lack of leadership? Are the reserves coming on? Are they're just not gelling with the other players? I don't know. It's a bit of a worry, really, isn't it? Because the All Blacks have always seemed to be the opposite. It's like when they bring the reserves on, they just kick away and kick on in the last 20. It seems to be the opposite there with us in these last couple of years. So, I think any team, you're going to have to you organise your top 15, and then you organise your top 22, and then you pick your squad around, trying to fill in the gaps around, someone who can cover outside backs or cover midfield, etc. And then you've got to have faith in every single player, because that, as we know, well, Stephen Donald's a classic example, isn't he? Remember that way back in 2011. You got to trust the players coming on to do the job. So, but there's that fine line between running them into the ground as well.
True. And of course, I'll be remiss to say, you'll see it on our Heartland page. The Super Rugby All Pecky teams were officially announced yesterday. So congratulations to a good friend of ours, young Chelsea Simple, being picked up by the Chiefs again. So her career, it's great to see her career still going on well as she's partying up in Europe on holiday. But it's good to see that coming through. And also with the Hurricanes, there's one girl there, Millie Mackey. Her father is involved with the Jayville Rugby Club here in Wellington. And I know he's one proud father. He posted an awesome photo of his daughter as a youngster supporting the Hurricanes, and now she's a Hurricane Pua. So, that must be just absolute thrill. Here's a girl that's been watching the Hurricanes, been supporting the Hurricanes, and now she's going to be her own Hurricane. So, there's and building on the success of the Black Ferns. IE last week. Thank you, World Rugby, for not making us go live, showing the victory by the ladies. Because I tell you, if you're going to be promoting women's sport, don't put a worldwide block on our live feeds.
Just unreal, eh? Unbelievable. Now that was a great lead too, actually, and it was spoiled a bit, didn't it? Because the whole broadcast just got blocked.
Yeah, but we recorded it, and if you want to see it, go back and have a look at our replay. So, as I said, we've got 3 games coming up next week. We've spoken about who's going to win what, and then that's it for the year. Or is it? No, because we'll still be here every Tuesday, courtesy of the HSN Health and Sports Network, which Jeff and I are involved with. Jeff, do you want to give the audience a bit of a breakdown as we move forward building this new network that's global around health and sport? I know I've put you on the spot there.
Yeah, it's all right, mate. No problems. No, look, health and sport to me just go hand in hand, doesn't it? I mean, if you're a sports advocate and you're playing sports, you obviously your fitness levels, your nutrition levels, and all of that. So it does go hand in hand. And so what we're trying to do here then is just encourage people to come on, share their experiences around their particular sport that they play. There's little things around recovery from sport. It's life after sport. It's injury prevention. It could just be fitness, nutrition. Who knows? But then when you look at the health side of it, again, it is intertwined. So I'd love to be able to get into the space of physiotherapists, naturopaths, medical doctors, surgeons, even have a talk to them around the best way to lead your life. So it's all around living a healthy lifestyle, involving both health and sport because they're interchangeable. And then again, just creating this platform where obviously you and I, we can just sit here and talk shit about rugby all day. And so that's Vault Rugby. But then we've got other platforms where other people can join in and maybe just create a golf platform or a tennis platform or even just a chiropractic platform or a physio platform or just a vegetarian platform, whatever. So it's all, the potential is unlimited, and we're just looking to grow it and just create a network of like-minded people just sharing their opinions. Because, as I said, there's no right or wrong. We just want people to come in and use the space and have some fun with it.
Well, yeah, and we could also end up with people, giving us the odd gem of stuff. I mean, especially like, as I said, here in New Zealand, okay, we've got a few sevens tournaments on, but we're heading into the summer. Some clubs are already putting in place their club training schedules for December. It's like, okay, I know we're not Super Rugby when it comes to club level, so, or even rep rugby when it comes to that matter, but at least clubs are now looking ahead, going, right, how can we mitigate injuries in the season? And that is by saying, have a great Christmas, enjoy the turkey dinner, but don't forget, you've still got a sport to play in 2 or 3 months' time, and it could take you 2 or 3 months to work off that turkey dinner. So it's that balance of stuff, and as you're saying, your own son there, doing the boxing, these guys are young. They need to be fit and ready and to get into that pre-season training. So hopefully we'll be bringing people on talking about nutrition, everything, so yeah,
mental
watch
health,
the space.
mental toughness, physical fitness, you name it, mate. There's the topics are unlimited, and it's quite exciting that we can just provide a platform where people can just express themselves and say what they want and invite whoever they want.
Well, that's true, and also because we are global and we are going to go worldwide with this. We've got people in North America and Europe ready to join in, talking about other sports as well. So, but hey, our first love will always be the rugby union, and I do understand that you have a prior engagement to get to there, Jeff. So, if you need to know anything more about what we're doing, we are currently building the website as we speak. So we're adding new stuff to it all the time. We've got our Instagram channel. I think you've sorted that out, Jeff?
Yep.
We've set up a YouTube channel where we'll be loading up all our interviews from the past. So to get that up and running, Jeff's got some awesome interviews with, as said before, Chelsea Semple and James Semple, Frano Boddicker, some medical professionals just talking straight up, and that's the name of his show. And of course, we'll have all our old rugby chat shows on there to see how badly we did pick rugby in 2022. So the website is now, as I said, is live. It's hsnetwork.live, and we will be asking everyone to come on and participate with us, whether it be here on the Facebook Live platform or via Zoom, in a bit more closed, private sort of scenario. Yeah, so it's really looking forward to what we do over the summer and where we take this. And and as I said, we do invite everyone to go and have a look at HSN Network or hsnetwork.live to just read a little bit more about what we're doing. So I think that's us until next Tuesday, Jeff.
Yeah, mate. I'll be there.
Words?
I'll see you then.
Okay. Catch us all later on the other side. And we only got to 50 minutes this week. So, yeah.
It's all good.
It'll be a bit more fun next week. I'll turn off the broadcast now and we'll see you all next Tuesday at 10 o'clock.